Welcome to the Habitat for Humanity Hood County Training Course. This course will walk you through your experience working on a Habitat for Humanity house. We will cover activities you may perform, job site hazards you may encounter, and what is expected of you while volunteering with Habitat for Humanity of Hood County. Anyone can volunteer with Habitat for Humanity, but to work on the job site, volunteers must be
16 years
or older, and you must
18 years or older
to use construction tools. We meet twice a week at the job site, Wednesdays and Saturdays from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. with a 45-minute lunch break beginning at 11:30 a.m. We typically start building houses the first Wednesday after Labor Day in September and stop working in May. Currently we are building houses in the Rancho Brazos subdivision off of Davis Road, where affiliate has been purchased vacant lots. You will be greeted by a crew chief who will ask you to check in and sign a volunteer liability waiver. Please be sure you read over the waiver before signing it. The crew chief will give general updates on Habitat Community, review tasks for the day, assign duties, conduct a safety briefing, and lead the group in prayer before starting the work. Some of the most common tasks that occur at a Habitat for Humanity job site include framing walls, roofing, sheathing, wrapping, and siding, electrical work, installing insulation, installing windows and doors, trim work, painting, caulking, assembling and installing cabinets, cleanup, and landscape. Framing is the skeleton of the house. If you are involved in framing phase, you will be hammering studs together to create walls, raising those walls and fastening them in place. Framing is one of the most important tasks for volunteers to do correctly. While the duties are relatively straightforward, there will be experienced leaders to walk you through the process step by step. Tools you will be using include hammers, nails, saws, levels, and ladders. It is important to watch what you are doing so that you don't hammer your fingers. The walls will be heavy, so when you raise them, use your legs by bending your knees so as not to put undue pressure on your back. Be aware of any variation in the ground so you can avoid tripping. Being on the roof can be a dangerous job. Whether you're on the roof or on the ground while volunteers are working on the roof, everyone needs to keep a watchful eye. Teams of workers will cut and then install the rafters. Some of the workers on the roof and others on the ground are providing ladder assistance. Another task performed on the roof is installing decking, which also requires teams of volunteers. If you're on the roof, never throw anything to the ground. Instead, hand it down to someone and make sure the ground area is clear. If you are on the ground while workers are on the roof, be aware of them and do not walk or work underneath an area where materials or tools are being passed up or off the roof. After the framing is completed, one of the next steps is to install sheathing to the outside walls. House wrap is then applied to the exterior of the sheathing to prevent moisture from entering the house. Once the house is wrapped, a team of volunteers marks the studs on the exterior wall with a chalk line. Then teams of volunteers install hardy board cement siding planks, nailing them to the studs and sheathing. As one of the most visible aspects of the house, it is important to properly install siding. Teams of volunteers workers together to cut and handle the siding. We recommend 2-member teams carrying the hardy board since it bends and breaks easily. Doing electrical work incorrectly, as you know, can kill you or others. Therefore, our affiliate has a small team of trained and knowledgeable volunteers who perform electrical work at a Habitat house. These volunteers work with the homeowner to determine placement of outlets, fixtures, appliances, and other electrical devices. For safety reasons, these volunteers typically work on days other than Wednesdays and Saturdays, so they may have use of the full house. Never touch wires that are protruding from uncovered areas, and always be careful when devices are uncovered. Insulation is installed in the attic and walls of the house to keep warm air in during cooler outside temperatures and cold air in during warmer outside temperatures. The type of insulation used will be dependent on where the installation will be installed. The installation is fitted between the wall studs and secured. If you have ever worked with insulation, you know it can be irritating to your skin. You will need to protect yourself. You should wear gloves, long-sleeve shirt, long pants, a disposable mask, and safety glasses. When installing insulation in an attic, there needs to be adequate support to walk on. Do not rely on the rafters to provide support. Place a board across the rafters will provide adequate support and safety. When installing windows and doors, enlist a team. Never try to install a window or a door by yourself. Be careful when caulking the window installation. You do not want to trap moisture, which can cause mold and mildew. After windows have been installed, do not use them as a material delivery entrance. You need to be extra careful when installing windows to avoid bending the frame or breaking the glass. Trim work means putting on the final touches to the interior and exterior of the house. Volunteers work in teams to measure, cut, and install the wood used for baseboards, shoe molding, closet rods and shelves, and window ledges. Nail guns are typically used to install the interior trim work. Be careful not to trip on the cords that may be on the floor. Painting is a task that many volunteers are familiar with, and is a common task that volunteers will perform. While painting can be fun and relatively easy, painting is one of the most visible aspects of the work and must be done with care. The materials and tools involved will be paint, brushes, rollers, pans, and ladders. If you are working from a ladder, the ladder must be placed on level ground. Don't reach too far out from the ladder, as this could cause you to lose your balance and fall. Be careful carrying tools and materials up and down the ladder. If possible, have another person lift it up to you, or wear a tool belt or a waist apron. There will be ladder safety tips later in the course. Caulking is another common task that volunteers will perform. While caulking can seem uncomplicated and straightforward, caulking is applied to seal the gaps and must be done with care. The tools and materials involved will be caulk, caulk guns, gloves, water, rags, buckets, and ladders. If you are working from a ladder, it must be placed on level ground. Our affiliate purchased ready-to-assemble cabinets for the kitchen and bathroom. It is best to work with another person to assemble a cabinet. The instructions are in the box, along with the necessary parts. Lay the cabinet on a flat surface covered with the cardboard from the cabinet or cloth to protect the cabinet surface from scratching. Follow the manufacturer's instruction for assembling the cabinet. Once assembly is completed, a small team of volunteers will install the cabinets. Laying sod and planting shrubbery are typically finishing touches on a habitat house. After picking up debris, the ground is raked. Sod is then laid in the yard and holes are dug to plant shrubs. A common injury is a strained lower back due to heavy lifting, bending, and twisting for long periods of time. Take breaks and don't overextend yourself. Scrapes and cuts often occur from random construction debris in the yard, including stray nails. Wear gloves and appropriate footwear to prevent injuries. Trips and falls also occur frequently where there are holes and stumps that can easily be stepped in or tripped over. Other tasks related to building a habitat house in Hood County are performed, but our affiliate either pays local professional contractors to perform the task, or local contractors donate the services free of charge. The services Habitat pays for include installing the septic system, pouring the concrete slab and driveway, installing the plumbing, and installing the flooring. The services donated by local contractors include labor for installing the roof shingles, materials and labors for gutters, material and labor for stone mailboxes, and labor for air conditioning and heating. Our affiliate has a shed with tools for your use on the job site. One of our tool shed volunteers can help you find the tool you need. When you are finished with the tool, place it where you found it, or give it to a tool shed volunteer to put in the proper location. You will see a variety of tools during your volunteer days at Habitat. Some you will use, others you will not. If you are asked to use a tool, be sure you know how to use it. This is not the time or place for overconfidence. If you are unsure how to use a tool or need a refresher, ask a crew chief for instruction. Crew chiefs will be happy to help. Power tools should never be carried by the cord, and they should be wrapped up when the tool is not in use or being moved. Never throw a tool to another worker. Our affiliate also has a shed where ladders of all sizes are stored. Ladders are used throughout the building process. Ladders must be inspected for damage before its use. If a ladder is suspected of being damaged, it should be marked as such and taken out of service. Let a crew chief know. Ladder steps should be clean of debris that may cause a slip and fall. Always face the ladder when climbing and use the 3-point contact when on the ladder. This means either 2 feet and 1 hand or 2 hands and 1 foot on the ladder at all times. Ladders should be stable, left to right and top to bottom. Don't place a ladder on a ground that is too soft, rocky, uneven, or otherwise unsafe. Step ladders are not meant to be used as extension ladders. They should be fully opened and braced for standing on them. Never stand above the 3rd rung from the top of the ladder. Use extension ladder if needed, rather than reaching and extending yourself too far. Ladders must be positioned at the correct angle to safely support your weight. Follow the 4 feet to 1 foot rule when setting up a ladder. The distance from the base of the ladder and the distance from the base of the wall should be 1/4 the distance from the bottom of the ladder to where the ladder touches the wall. For example, if the top is 16 feet up the wall, the bottom of the ladder should be 4 feet out from the wall. Because hand injuries are a major hazard when using saws, only experienced workers are allowed to use power saws. If you have experience using saws, you may be asked to use them. Be sure to cut away from yourself and never use a body part, such as your hand, to guide your cut. When using a reciprocating saw, use both hands on the saw. When using a circular or miter saw, make sure the guards are in place. Never remove guards from a saw. Guards are in place to protect you from the operating point where the material meets the saw. Gloves will help protect your hands from nicks, cuts, and abrasion, skin absorption or harmful substances, chemicals, and thermal burns. They will also help deflect some of the force if your hand is struck by an object. Eyewear protection helps reduce the number and severity of eye injuries in 90% of accidents. Flying objects such as fragments, chips, sand, sawdust, and dust particles are the most common eye hazards we encounter on a construction site. Ear protection should be worn anytime the noise level is loud enough to damage your ear. Continued exposure to loud noises can have lasting effects on your hearing. If you are performing a task that you're not comfortable doing, stop. It is always better to be safe now than sorry later. Not only may the work be done incorrectly, but your safety is of the utmost importance. Let a crew chief know you would like more training to perform the task. After the training, if you still are not comfortable with the task, a crew chief will be happy to direct you to another. Habitat for Humanity's primary concern is the safety of its volunteers. No one should perform a task they are not comfortable with. Common sense isn't necessarily always common. Don't put yourself in a dangerous situation or be in a rush to complete a task. There are always time and plenty of volunteers to get the job done safely and effectively. Don't let another volunteer encourage you to sway your decision to perform the task safely. If you see someone doing a task in an unsafe manner, let a crew chief know right away. You are ultimately responsible for your own safety when volunteering for Habitat for Humanity. The job site can be a dangerous place. Those dangers can be eliminated or reduced by taking the time to familiarize yourself with your surroundings. Be on the outlook for protruding nails and holes or uneven surfaces. Any of these conditions can cause serious injury. If noticed, notify a crew chief so the hazard can be corrected. Also, be aware of anyone carrying large loads. They may not see you. Stand clear until they pass. When working from ladders or roofs, make sure you have enough working room. You should have at least 10 feet of clearance so you will not come in contact with overhead electrical lines. Electrical burns are severe and can cause lifelong impairment. If you notice a cord that is worn or damaged, give it to a crew chief or tool shed volunteer to fix or replace. If you are not comfortable with heights, do not work on the roof. If you're working on the roof, put your weight toward the roof. Never place tools on the roof, and be aware of the roof's edges at all times. And watch for sawdust because it makes the roof surface slippery. A first aid cabinet is located in our affiliate's tool shed and has all necessary bandages, creams, and dressings for an accident. If you need assistance, please report to the tool shed immediately and obtain the necessary treatment. If needed, we also have a team of volunteers on the job site that are CPR trained. A list of those persons is listed on the inside of the first aid cabinet door. If a serious accident occurs, our affiliate is required to follow our insurance company's accident procedures. Notify a crew chief immediately to get the needed attention, and he will ensure the necessary incident and witness reports are completed. Every job site will be equipped with a fire extinguisher. A crew chief should point out its location. If you encounter a fire, determine whether the extinguisher can be used. If the fire is small enough, use the PASS system. P. Pull the pin. A. Aim the nozzle at the base of the flame. S. Squeeze the trigger. S. Sweep the extinguisher from side to side, covering the base of the fire with the extinguisher agent. If the fire is too large, call 911. Be sure to bring a positive attitude and enthusiasm to the job site. The work you are doing supports a very important cause and should be embarked on as a wonderful opportunity for you and someone in need. Our affiliate has all the tools you'll need to use on the job site, but if you have a favorite pair of gloves, hammer, or tool belt you prefer to use, then by all means bring them along. House construction is often strenuous. Working outdoors in the elements can be very exhausting. It is important to drink plenty of water to prevent dehydration. This also applies in colder weather. Even though you don't feel thirsty, your body needs fluids regardless of the weather. Our Habitat affiliate provides water and drinking cups for its volunteers on the job site. It is typically stationed near the main tool shed. Habitat for Humanity of Hood County provides lunch for its volunteers. We are extremely blessed by many volunteers and supporters from local churches, organizations, and restaurants who provide us lunch. Proper attire is essential to a successful building experience. Do not wear baggy clothing that can get caught easily on protruding materials or in machinery. Work boots are another part of working on a construction site. If you do not have work boots, wear thick-soled shoes to prevent puncture wounds caused by stray nails or debris that could go through the shoe. Weather permitting, jeans are recommended because they help protect your legs from cuts and scrapes. And if needed, wear long-sleeve shirts to protect your arms from cuts and scrapes. Please do not park on the construction site. This is for your safety. Oftentimes, workers' vehicles that are parked on the job site are damaged, or tires are punctured by stray nails. If you have materials or tools to pick up or drop off, do so. Then move the vehicle off the construction site. The crew chief will instruct you where to park your vehicle. We expect every volunteer will enjoy working on a Habitat for Humanity house and have the opportunity to give back to the Hood County community. Hopefully you will make new friends and more than likely learn some new skills that will last you for a lifetime.